What if the very chaos you're fighting is the signal your soul is waiting for? Have you felt a strange disconnect from the life you used to know? Like the rules of the game have suddenly changed, and no one gave you the new playbook. That whisper you hear in the quiet moments, the one that says, keep moving, is not a delusion. It is a confirmation. You are not falling behind. You are being fundamentally rewired. The framework of your old self is being dismantled to make room for something authentic. And if you are noticing these subtle signs, your essential nature is beginning to awaken. Part 1. The initiation of discomfort. When your inner world first shifts, it rarely arrives as a beam of light. More often, it feels like a storm, a sudden confusion, a weight you can't locate, a deep-seated friction with everything that once felt normal. This, according to profound psychological wisdom, is not a breakdown. It is the first crack of a breakthrough. The moment you start sensing this internal disruption, you are not broken. You are stirring from a long sleep. You are beginning to perceive the presence of what some call your hidden self. This hidden self is not your enemy. It is your unlived truth. Many mistake it for a dark force, a reservoir of rage, jealousy, or fear. But the true purpose is not to frighten you. It is to be seen, confronted, and ultimately welcomed home. What makes it volatile is not its content, but our refusal to acknowledge its existence. When your emotions surge unpredictably, when your mind feels torn in two, it is often the first signal that a deeper part of you is demanding to be heard. This process is frequently triggered by a life event, a loss, a betrayal, a failure, a profound moment of existential questioning. It can feel as though the very ground beneath you is fracturing. And that is precisely the point. That is the genesis of true awareness. The part of you that you think of as you begins to understand it is not the sole operator of your inner universe. You start to feel like a stranger in your own history. One of the earliest indicators you are on the correct trajectory is when the life you once built begins to feel alien.
The conversations that used to entertain you now feel empty. The small talk at social gatherings rings hollow. The routines that provided safety now feel like confinement.
This is not a symptom of something being wrong with you. It is evidence that something inauthentic is dissolving. You are not collapsing. You are shedding the artificial layers of personality that were constructed for protection, to gain approval or to impress the world. When the social mask we all wear starts to crumble, the genuine self begins to stir. And that process is inherently uncomfortable. This is why the initial stages of awakening often resemble suffering. You are peeling away the parts that were never truly yours to begin with. Internal friction is a marker of metamorphosis. Another significant sign you are aligned with your path is intense inner conflict. The sensation of being ripped between two identities, the person you were and the person you are becoming, it is agonizing. True growth is born from the tension between opposing forces. The old self craves security, predictability, and external validation. The new self requires truth, sovereignty, and alignment with your core. They pull you in opposite directions. If you are experiencing this tension, this civil war within, do not flee from it. Lean into it. It means you are no longer asleep. You are vibrantly alive. This conflict is sacred. It is the very mechanism through which the soul forges its strength. There is a powerful teaching. Within all chaos lies a hidden cosmos, a secret order. That secret order is your transformation. And that inner distress is your guide. The deconstruction of the ego is not your annihilation. People on this path often fear they are losing their minds. Why? Because the identity you've spent a lifetime building is being taken apart. And that can feel like a form of death. But the ego is not the center of your being. It is merely a surface layer. When it begins to fracture, your deeper essence, your true self, starts to emerge. So yes, it feels like an ending, but it is the end of an illusion, and an ending always comes before a new beginning. This is why so many profound shifts in consciousness start with turmoil. Because the false must fall away for the real to take root. Your old defenses, beliefs, and identities were useful once, but they are now obsolete, and your psyche knows it. So, if everything inside you feels like it's unraveling, continue forward. It means you are crossing a threshold. You begin to feel emotions you've suppressed for decades. Those who are awakening often encounter emotional intensity unlike anything they've known. This is not a regression. It is a profound release. The unconscious mind stores everything you have ever rejected, suppressed, or repressed: childhood wounds, guilt, shame, anger, all the feelings you were never permitted to experience. As you begin to wake up, these emotions do not vanish. They rise to the surface, and it is messy. You might weep without a clear reason, feel anger over minor irritations, or be flooded with inexplicable sadness or anxiety. But this is not emotional fragility. It is emotional purification. It is your psyche creating space for the true self. Allow it to flow. The hidden self does not wish to harm you. It desires to be recognized, accepted, and integrated. If you observe this happening, you are not broken. You are healing. Your dreams transform and become vividly symbolic. The world of dreams was seen as a direct pathway to the unconscious. If you are on the right path, your dream life may shift dramatically. They become more intense, rich with symbolism, and emotionally charged. You may dream of falling, flying, dying, or being lost. These are not random images. They are messages from the unconscious, communicating with your waking mind. They frequently mirror the internal shifts you are undergoing. Falling can signify a release of control. Flying can represent liberation from constraints. Dying often symbolizes a profound transformation of identity. Being lost can reflect the disorientation of the ego during an awakening. Dreams are the psyche's method of showing you what lies beneath the surface so you can engage with it. So if your dreams are powerful and symbolic, do not dismiss them. Record them. Contemplate them. They are part of your navigation system. You become more sensitive to energy and truth. When you start walking this path, your perception sharpens. You become less able to tolerate dishonesty, especially your own. You detect manipulation in others more readily. You feel depleted after interacting with toxic individuals. You sense the unspoken truth in conversations. This can be described as the rising influence of your intuitive capacity. Your deeper self is guiding you not through linear thought, but through a feeling of resonance. You begin to trust your inner knowing, and that makes you more difficult to deceive. If you find yourself becoming more emotionally intuitive, more aware of subtle energies, and more connected to non-physical realities, you are unequivocally on the right path. Discomfort is the rite of passage, a foundational truth. There is no arrival at consciousness without discomfort. This is not a flaw in the design. It is the discomfort you are experiencing is not a punishment. It is an initiation. The struggle is a birth canal. And if you feel like you are in the dark, struggling to find your breath, confused and isolated, it means you are existing between worlds. You are no longer who you were, but not yet who you are becoming. This in-between space is sacred. It is the cocoon stage. And even though it is disorienting, it is also proof that you have stepped into the process of transformation. Conclusion of part 1. You may not see it clearly now, but this internal chaos, the emotional weight, the identity crisis, the heightened sensitivity, the mysterious dreams, it is not random. It is structured deconstruction. The architecture of your false self is being carefully taken down so that something genuine, eternal, and luminous can take its place. So, if you are noticing these signs, keep moving. You are not lost. You are awakening. Part 2. When the world no longer recognizes you, you've changed, and it becomes evident. Suddenly, the people around you begin to drift. Conversations feel strained. Friends become distant. The partner might say, "You're a different person." You might feel invisible in a crowd, detached from your social circles, or profoundly misunderstood by your own family. This is not a social malfunction. It is a soul-level shift. A key sign of individuation, the process of becoming your authentic self, is a natural withdrawal from the collective. Not because you are superior, but because your soul is being called inward. The disconnection is spiritual, not personal. You are not just losing friends, you are losing resonance. The vibrational frequency you once shared with others is now evolving. You no longer feed on drama. You no longer find the same jokes amusing. You can no longer pretend to be invested in trivial chatter. This is not arrogance. It is awakening. The collective unconscious can be seen as the invisible web of shared patterns, instincts, and archetypes that binds society. When you awaken, you begin to detach from these collective norms. Not because they are wrong, but because they no longer match your evolving essence. You begin to crave authenticity over mere belonging. And this craving carries a cost. Isolation. But this isolation is sacred. Sacred isolation is where the soul is refined. Every journey of self-discovery begins with a separation. It is a symbolic exile. It often mirrors the great stories, the retreat into the wilderness, the solitary meditation under a tree. Why do all these narratives include solitude? Because truth does not shout in a crowd. It whispers in silence. When no one understands you anymore, it compels you to understand yourself. You begin to listen more intently to your inner voice. You reflect more deeply. You consume information differently. You stop outsourcing your identity to the opinions of others. And in this quiet, something beautiful occurs. Your inner world becomes richer and louder than the outer one. Your social circle contracts. That is the filter of transformation. One of the most challenging truths on this path is this: not everyone is meant to accompany you. As you rise, some people will naturally fall away, not because you do not care for them, but because you are no longer nourishing the same energetic patterns. Relationships built on unconscious habits, codependency, or mutual ego validation cannot withstand the process of individuation. When you stop performing your old role, people no longer know how to relate to you. You might have been the caregiver, the comedian, the empath who carried everyone's burdens, and now suddenly you stop. That is when the social structure shifts. People say you have changed, and they are correct, but they do not realize you did not change to abandon them. You change to discover yourself, and that is the necessary cost of wholeness. Misunderstanding is a reflection. When people fail to understand you, resist the urge to over-explain. Some parts of the self are meant to remain private, not out of secrecy, but out of sacredness. The soul communicates in a language that only those on a similar frequency can comprehend. Do not expect everyone to grasp your evolution. In fact, being surrounded by those who do not understand your path creates the necessary tension for you to stand firm in your own truth. This misunderstanding becomes a mirror. It shows you how far you have traveled. You no longer fit the mold because you have outgrown it. And that is a positive development. The pain of outgrowing relationships, one of the most excruciating signs you are on the right path is this. You still hold love for them, but you cannot remain. You cannot stay in relationships that demand your silence. You cannot remain in friendships that require your inauthenticity. You cannot stay in environments where your growth is viewed as a betrayal. This is not cruelty, it is courage. This painful stage is a necessary departure from the collective in order to honor the self. If you feel guilt for outgrowing people, remember that staying small to make others comfortable is a slow spiritual demise. Real love is never about stagnation. It is about expansion. And if someone cannot meet you in your growth, you must love them from a distance. Loneliness versus aloneness. There is a critical difference between feeling lonely and being alone. Loneliness is a craving for external validation. Aloneness is the profound presence of your soul, fully felt. When no one understands you, your ego feels lonely, but your soul, it is in communion with something far deeper. You begin to sense that you are not actually alone. You are with yourself for the first time. True aloneness is essential for encountering the self. It is the sacred container in which the unconscious reveals its symbols, insights, and transformations. So if you are sitting alone in your room, questioning everything, you are not wasting time. You are mid-transformation. You feel pulled toward inner silence. Another sign you are on the right path is a deep magnetic pull toward solitude, introspection, and quiet. You do not just want to be alone, you need to be. Noise becomes painful. Crowds feel draining. Superficial conversations feel unbearable. This is not depression. This is the soul demanding presence. You might turn to journaling, meditation, quiet walks, or long nights under the stars. You might find comfort not in people, but in symbols, archetypes,